We didn't even touch on it, but what's that guy name? Is it Nurchi?
Yeah, I see the one that sort of was like selling out Andor.
Yeah, the one that was
Okay,
trying.
okay, so I need you to convince Wayne and Keith to go watch all of Andor and then get their comment on the fact that they picked the black guy to portray Andor and he gets killed at the end.
Snitches get stitches, man. That's why, that's just how it goes.
Like
That's
what are the
universal.
racial politics there?
You wanna? You know what? When I did see that, I did think, okay, I won't lie and say it didn't cross my mind, but it was like he was. It's okay. To be honest, I'm always kind of taken back of how many brown people I see on this show. Now, before it almost kind of threw me off, like, okay, what? Well, and I guess in the other shows like Book of Boba Fett, I would see that and I was thinking, like, oh, like, okay, they just kind of there for aesthetics, probably. This one, it felt right. It felt like, I know it's kind of like revisionist because in old movies it wasn't like that, but with this it feels like, well, maybe they were in the other movies. I wasn't just paying attention. They're in there that smoothly, and I love that. And it's kind of nuanced.
Or it's just like, oh, we're not seeing
Right.
enough people to get
Right.
a good sampling size.
Right. And so I'm like,
that is something I've thought about with sort of like how they've, I certainly see it way more in the sequel trilogy.
Okay, yeah.
Where like they diversify the shit out of even the New Order, where it's like every color, every gender is there, and it's like it almost takes away.
Yes.
Like
yes, you got.
I've been talk about this for a while.
Okay.
So, like the original trilogy, it's like, okay, it's a bunch of evil white dudes. Got it. The Rebels has some sprinklings of not white dudes present, even some ladies fighting. Cool.
Okay.
For the the 70s and 80s, it's like, wow, that's amazing. Nowadays it's like, no, we got to up those numbers.
Right.
But what's I think better about the balance that we see, the way the Empire in particular is presented, is they're supposed to be fucking space Nazis. Let them be fucking space Nazis.
Right.
Is that they've sprinkled in some women. You got Deidre, which is, oh, man.
Right.
Great character. And we even saw with the other like security lieutenants, we had the African American guy like as a sort of her rival a little bit there.
Yeah.
So it's not purely all white, but it's still hella white.
Yeah.
And I'm like, please do that. Please keep that. Don't. Yeah. It takes something away from the metaphor where it's just like, no, we're just racist. We're just humanists. Like, we're not racists.
Right.
We let our skin color doesn't matter to us. No, we're making it about being humans versus contrast, that clean contrast between that and the rebels and other people, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't just make it where like, oh, we're rebels. We've got aliens too. It's like, no. We also got a heavy mix in our human representation too.
Right.
I just feel like it cheapens things.
It does. Yeah. If you don't do it the right way, it can come off kind of crazy. It's a way to do things. And like you said, sometimes it does throw off the visual map when you try to, fix it or whatever. It's kind of like, well, no, it needs to be that. It needs to be consistent. Yeah. Like I said, that's what the whole thing with Black Elves or whatever, but it's almost kind of like they came from the same place and what happened? How would that happen? It's just like it opens up more questions that you don't have the answers for. So if you don't have an answer for that, for somebody just walking up being like, how did that happen? You better explain it. Like somebody got to explain something.
It's so tricky too, like, right? And like even with Star Wars of like not trying to make sense of like, okay, so there's humans.
Yeah.
And there's all the humans have the normal human skin colors, but it's in a galaxy far, far away. The racial politics don't map evenly, but it doesn't matter because it's a fucking metaphor for us.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, how do you make sense of like Star Wars white humans being racist against Star Wars black humans when it's like they literally like yeah. It's like one of those things where it's like you also don't necessarily want to lean too much into it because then it's like, well, wait, how much Fantasyland stuff do we have to unpack now?
Yeah. I think it's, I don't know. I'll put it like this. I think that if it was already established a certain kind of way, and the empire looked like the empire that we saw, then I think it's fine to keep it like that. That wouldn't be the place I would
Hmm.
necessarily. Now, if you talk about like the rebels that's trying to go against them and whatever, then yeah, you probably have. It wouldn't just be the same group of people be oppressed. It'd be oppressed people all over.
Right.
That would be a more of a mix because everybody's is kind of going through it on the other end.
And I think with doing Deidre and her rival character is if you do the Empire as a bunch of evil white dudes,
Mm-hmm.
evil racist white dudes, space Nazis, but
Mm-hmm.
then you sprinkle in a woman here, a non-white character there,
Yeah, yeah.
like, and that's also established in sort of the canon and stuff because like Grand Admiral Thrawn is not human and
Mm-hmm.
he's one of the biggest sort of imperial admirals out there,
All right.
right? You make those characters that break that norm
Yeah.
more interesting and you can see them operating within that system without like going, oh, we're going to diversify the space Nazis, and it's like, but then they're not space Nazis.
Right. Right. Yeah. Like I said, it's a nuanced way to do it. I think it's interesting, but like I said, I think that the way they did it in this, I did notice a lot of, like I said, black and brown folks in it, but it didn't stick out
Hmm.
like a sore thumb. It was nuanced in a way. Like I said, I saw it and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like the whole thing with even his stepdad being black. I thought it
Hmm.
was cool. It was simple, it was quick. Just a dad sharing a lesson with his son. Even the fact that
Nothing
Andor.
felt forced.
Yeah, it didn't. It's just like it's interesting. I saw it and appreciated it versus thinking like, oh, here we go.
Right.
Because believe it or not, even if you're a person of color, it doesn't mean that you just want representation just thrown on any kind of way. It's kind of like,
Right.
yeah, I like hot sauce, but I don't want, half a bottle on my food. It doesn't mean that, there's levels to it. It's nuance and ways to do things. And sometimes I think that people get excited about it and just over season and it's just like too much going on when it didn't take all that. Sometimes it takes just a
Yeah.
little or just to be
Overreach a
consistent.
little bit.
Yeah, you can be consistent and
Right.
work it out. But yeah, it's yeah,
So
but I
yeah,
thought it was
go
nicely done.
convince Wayne and Keith now to watch the whole season, and then they can let us know what they thought about the casting choices.
Hey, this is Jay, and I hope you're enjoying the conversation so far. I just want to let you know that this conversation is part of a larger conversation that continues on the next episode. Thanks for listening.